So the last time we read, the Yarbys were kind of freaked out over the turtle that Fudge brought into the dining room. So the last sentence we read was, when I got back to the table, I heard Mrs. Yarby saying it must be interesting to have children. We never had any ourselves. But if we did, Mr. Yarby told my father, we'd teach them some manners. I'm a firm believer in old-fashioned good manners. So are we, Howard, my mother said in a weak voice. I thought Mr. Yarby had a lot of nerve to hint that we had no manners. Didn't I pretend to like their dumb old picture dictionary? If that isn't good manners, then I don't know what is. My mother excused herself and carried Fudge back to my room. I guess she put him into his crib again. I hope she told him to keep his hands off my things. We didn't hear from him again until dessert. Just as my mother was pouring coffee, he ran in wearing my rubber gorilla mask from last Halloween. It's a very real-looking mask. I guess that's why Mrs. Yarby screams so loud. If she hadn't made so much noise, my mother probably wouldn't have spilled the coffee all over the table. My father grabbed Fudge and pulled the gorilla mask off him. That's not funny, Fudge, he said. Funny, Fudge laughed. Funny, 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 funny Fudgy. Yes, sir, Hatcher, Mr. Yarby said. Old-fashioned manners. By that time, I'm sure my father was sorry the Yarbys weren't staying at a hotel. I finally got to bed at 10. Fudge was in his crib, slurping away. I thought I'd never fall asleep, but I guess I did. I woke up once when Fudge started babbling. He said, "Booba, mama, mama, bashi," whatever that means. I didn't even get scared. I whispered, "Shut up," and he did. Early the next morning, I felt something funny on my arm. At first, I didn't wake up. I just felt this tickle. I thought it was part of my dream, but then I had the feeling somebody was staring at me. So I opened my eyes. Fudge was standing over me and Dribble was crawling over my arm. I guess Fudge could tell I was about ready to kill him because he bent down and kissed me. That's what he does when my mother's angry at him. He thinks nobody can resist when he makes himself so lovable. And a lot of times it works with my mother, but not with me. I jumped up, put Dribble back in his bowl, and smacked Fudge on his backside. Hard, he hollered. My father came running into my room. He was still in his pajamas. He whispered, "What's going on in here?" I pointed at Fudge, and he pointed at me. My father picked up my brother and carried him off. "Go back to sleep, Peter," he said. "It's only 6 o'clock in the morning." I fell asleep for another hour and then woke up to an awful noise. It was Fudge playing with his new train. It woke up everybody, including the Yarbys. They were the ones who gave Fudge the train in the first place. Breakfast was quite an affair. Nobody had much to say. Mr. Yarby drank 2 glasses of Juicio, and then he told my father that he and Mrs. Yarby had their suitcases packed. They were leaving for a hotel as soon as breakfast was over. My father said he understood that the apartment was too small for so many people. My mother didn't say anything. When Mrs. Yarby went into Fudge's bedroom to pick up his suitcase, his voice boomed. Mr. Yarby, that is. "Hatcher!" My father ran to the bedroom. My mother and Mrs. Yarby followed him. I followed them. When we got there, Fudge was sitting on the Yarby's suitcase. He had decorated it with about 100 green stamps, the kind my mother got at the supermarket. "See," Fudge said, "see, pretty," he laughed. No one else did. Then he licked the last green stamp and stuck it in the middle of the suitcase. "All gone," Fudge sang, holding up his hands. It took my mother half an hour to peel off her trading stamps and clean up the Yarby suitcases. The next week, my father came home from the office and collected all the cans of Juicio in our house. He dumped them all into the garbage. My mother felt bad that my father had lost such an important account, but my father told her not to worry. Juicio wasn't selling very well at the stores. Nobody seemed to like the combination of oranges, grapefruits, pineapples, pears, and bananas. You know, Dad, I said, I only drank Juicy-O to be polite. I really hated it. You know something funny, Peter? My father said. I thought it was pretty bad myself. So that's the end of this chapter, and that's the end of this reading. So go to Google Doc and record your summary and all your good questions, predictions, feelings, and thoughts. Awesome. Talk to you later.